With the presidential race taking another surprise turn this weekend, let's go to Trump Tower, New York, where joining us is Kellyanne Conway, Donald Trump's campaign manager. Kellyanne, welcome.
Hi, Howie.
So Donald Trump had been going around saying the FBI investigation of Hillary Clinton was rigged as recently as Friday morning. He said the FBI should be ashamed. Now, I know this is a separate inquiry, but your campaign's view of James Comey and his decision-making suddenly seems a lot more favorable.
Well, the fact that it's a separate investigation is the key here. In July, on July 5th, in fact, Jim Comey went out and gave this rousing indictment of Hillary Clinton and how reckless and careless she was, and then said yet he would not prosecute. 2 days later, under oath to Congress, Howie, he said that he basically undercut his own conclusion and then undercut Hillary Clinton's own words. When he was asked under oath by Chairman Trey Gowdy, he said there was not one device, there were 13, there were multiple devices. Yes, it is true there was classified national security information contained in those emails on her private server. So he undercut his own conclusion and he undercut her words. This investigation is separate. And I think I could argue that had Comey sat on this new information, he would have been impacting the election. We can't have that.
Well, but is it possible, since even the FBI, according to reports, doesn't know what these emails are, hasn't reviewed the emails on the devices of Huma Abedin and Anthony Weiner, that this could turn out to be nothing? Would you acknowledge that? It's
possible, but so what? In other words, what we're reminded of is the cloud of corruption that always follows Hillary Clinton. And we're having this entire conversation about a renewed FBI investigation because Hillary Clinton did what she always does, put Hillary first. She put Hillary first above national security, above the safety of Americans. And she could put this all to rest right now. She can call into your show right now, Howie, and say, I just talked to Huma Abedin, and here's what's in those emails. But they won't do that. They won't make any comment about Huma and what could possibly be in those emails. So she probably knows a lot more than we know right now.
Well, the Clinton campaign has not commented on the substance. That is true. They've concentrated the firepower on Comey.
Instead, they're attacking Jim Comey. Instead, they're attacking his reputation, his veracity. I thought on the morning shows today, her team, who is filled with smart people, did a fairly terrible job trying to defend the strategy of taking down Jim Comey and demanding that he expedite his investigation so that we can see everything right away.
Right. Well, let me get to this. Donald Trump has been saying repeatedly that if he's elected, he would reopen the original FBI investigation of Hillary Clinton. And he said during the debate, if he was president, she'd be in jail. Now, a lot of people, some people, I should say, sympathetic to Donald Trump, have been saying that in a democracy, a presidential candidate shouldn't be vowing to prosecute his opponent.
Well, Jim Comey went ahead and did what Donald Trump said he would do, which is reopen the FBI investigation. So it turns out
technically, it's not a reopening;
it's
a separate inquiry, as you noted. But should Trump?
Fine, but here we are. We can never get the stench and the stain of the Clintons off of us. It turns out, and this is a great example of that. But look, what Donald Trump has said is that he believes there was criminal wrongdoing, and he knows anybody else. The military guy who took pictures inside the submarine, who's now going to face a year in jail. Certainly, General James Cartwright faces 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine for lying to the FBI one time, confirming information to 2 New York Times reporters that they'd already written, and he was trying to protect national security interests. And this guy faces jail time. So we know this is all about a separate set of rules for Hillary Clinton and the rest of us.
All right. You've criticized the media coverage of Donald Trump, and there's been an avalanche of negative coverage, and we've talked about that extensively
unprecedented
on this show. But do you agree with your boss that many mainstream journalists are dishonest and corrupt?
I think what we saw in WikiLeaks is that in the case of some individuals, certainly not most or all, that some are definitely in active collusion with and cooperation with the Clinton campaign. And you simply can't have an interested, biased press in that regard, where you literally have print journalists, Howie, saying, hey, if there's any problem with the article I'm about to file, if you'd like to add a little bit more or subtract some, feel free to do it. We just can't have that. We can't have them saying, I'd like to do a really nice profile of Mrs. Clinton. Don't worry, she'll look great in it. That's not journalism. That's advocacy, and that's collusion. And some of these individuals, frankly, should be getting a check from the Clinton campaign, not from their, quote, disinterested
That's fair.
press
I mean, the collusion description is fair. Some of this is coziness that I've written about and talked about. You're not using the word corrupt. Same question about polls. Now, Donald Trump has been talking about phony polls. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you believe the polls are phony, and I wonder if you've asked him to stop saying that.
Well, some of the polls are just dead wrong because they're not accounting for all the new voters and the lapsed voters and the crossover voters. They're relying upon listed sample, not intention to vote. And I don't think that they're giving people a comfortable out, particularly would-be Clinton voters. They're not giving them a comfortable out to admit that they may just not feel very excited and engaged this particular election cycle because of who's at the top of the ticket. But what we do look at a poll like the ABC News Washington Post poll, which 1 week ago showed us down 12 points, and now shows us down 1 point. And all those who enthusiastically embrace the ABC News Washington Post poll have to live with it now when it shows us 1 point behind. They're trying to figure out how to do that. But I think what Donald Trump is saying is something I've been saying for months and months under a hail of criticism, by the way, and people like Ed Rendell are saying the same thing now, which is there's an undercover Trump voter. These polls are probably undercounting his support because of the enthusiasm and the momentum and the engagement. And this idea, I've seen these press reports, Howie, where they'll say, well, we know there are 15,000 people at this rally. Some of them waited in line for up to 8 hours to get in.
Right.
But will they vote? Seriously, will they vote?
Right.
They
Well,
were there for 8 hours in the rain, and
fine.
will they actually vote? You know they're going to vote.
It's fine to criticize the polls, but obviously that's different than saying they're phony. Let me get another question in here. The heavy media coverage of the FBI opening this inquiry, and in recent days of the WikiLeaks disclosures about the inner circle criticizing Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation, Bill Clinton Inc. and all of that, doesn't that show that the press is willing to hold Hillary Clinton accountable as well as Donald Trump?
It shows that they can't ignore breaking news, and frankly, even the WikiLeaks, it actually wasn't covered on all these front pages until it involved the pay-for-play with Bill Clinton, until you saw the words Bill Clinton Inc., $66 million worth of commercial interest for him going to him, Kimberly Strassel at the Wall Street Journal calling them grifters in chief. So I think it really took it to go all the way to the top for folks to get interested. That said, this is a breaking news story, and frankly, Howie, if you look at what was covered last week before the WikiLeaks stories and broke about Bill Clinton and before the FBI investigation was revealed, it was all about how the race is over. Right. The path is narrow. The path is gone. That's really disingenuous journalism when we know most of America has yet to vote. We should not be robbing America of its voice and its choice.
I got to wrap it up. I sat on this set and said, don't call it over, folks. 2 weeks is a long time in politics.
That's
Kellyanne
right.
Conway.
And here we are.
Great to see you.